Should I start as an appointment setter or a remote closer? I feel like it's really important for me to make this video now and share my thoughts on this question. It's been being sent to me a lot of times recently. I learned closing, or I started with closing. I got trained as a closer, and then I got an opportunity, but it's to be an appointment setter. What should I do? Or I completed this closer program, and then I'm being told to start as a setter, and things like that. So I'm seeing a lot of trend where people are calling themselves closers. They are branding themselves as closers, and they are the whole plan is to do closing, is to close sales, and to be specific, it's high ticket sales. Why high ticket sales? Because the margins are high, your profits are high, so your commissions are going to be high as well. Appointment setting, if you're lucky, you get a base. If you're not lucky, you get a small percentage, and then you have to type, call, okay, work multiple 4-hour shifts. It's a different game. So if that's the case, now are there appointment setters that are very successful and they make even more than closers? Definitely. That's the same thing as asking me if are there squash players that are better than tennis players, because I see it as two different sports. They're similar, it's sales. One is selling on text, and the other is selling on the phone. Both you're selling something, but I see it as two different sports. It's a bit like in fencing. You have three different weapon groups: foil, épée, and saber. Are they all fencing? Yes, right? But are they really the same? Not really. Okay, so that's how I see appointment setting and closing. So if that's the case, go get trained as an appointment setter. Master the skill and go all in, and find your success as an appointment setter. And then if afterwards you want to pivot to a second skill, learn something else, well, you already have a very strong foundation, right? You have the skill, your finances are in order. That's a great strategy. Okay, I can't teach you that because I didn't do that. I actually did it in reverse. I went all in on remote closing with no backup plan, no base salary, pure commissions. I stay in Singapore. I work opposite time zones. So that's what I can teach. And then I led a small team. I built a team from scratch all the way until my team grew, and then I became sales director, and then I lead the whole team, I train the whole team. And then I went to learn appointment setting. So I did it in reverse. And why did it happen that way? Because it got to a point where I realized that my skill sets were not complete. Because a lot of times as closers, I needed to get people on the phone myself, and I didn't have the skill to do that. So when I saw that a company was hiring for an appointment setter, I immediately signed up. And one of the main reasons was also because this business owner, this influencer, was teaching organic marketing, personal branding. So those were things that I want to learn, because I used to run my own martial arts business and I didn't do too well with that. So you see all the books behind me, half of them are mindset books, the other half are marketing books. These are all my interests, things that I want to learn that I can implement in my life. So I saw this lady was hiring, and even though it was a appointment setter role, I was like, that's okay. There's nothing I can't, go learn and train. And I want to learn those skills. So I applied, and then I got the job. Okay, if you want to see like how I applied, how I carried myself, how I sold myself, how I performed on the interview and things like that, I can send you all those stuff for free. Okay, because I can only teach what I've done. I don't want to teach you some theory that you can buy from anywhere else. So in this team, I learned appointment setting. Every day, send messages, add people, send lead magnets, approve group joins. Some of them is VA level work. Some of them I'm selling the prospect to get on a call with my influencer, and I didn't mind. Very manual. I work US time zone. I was still based in Singapore. I paste opaque curtains all over my window. I clip the window grill to block all the sunlight out, because I will work, like right now it's 1 a.m. Okay, I work in this kind of timings, and then I sleep through the day. So that's what I can teach, because that's what I did. And very quickly, the influencer, the business owner realized that, oh, Sean can actually do triage calls. These are like shorter form sales call to qualify the prospect. Sean can actually do closing calls. Sean can go. Sean is going every day. So naturally, I progressed into taking triage calls and then doing sales calls, and then I became, my title officially was called Chief of Sales. It's just a glorified name for closer. So then, what did I become in this process? I worked with this influencer for 1 year. Because of what I brought to the table, I got a 1,500 USD base salary per month, and I have all the PayPal receipts and all that stuff as evidence. Okay, I did triage calls, and then I did closing calls. So 1,500 was my base, excluding my setter's commission, excluding my closer's commissions. And I left after 1 year to build my own business. If I continue to stay, I probably have override from building a team again, okay, which I didn't want to do because I've already done it before. But you get the point. In this process, I completed my skill set. Okay, primarily my goal is to do high ticket remote sales, to be closing. Why high ticket? Because it's high ticket, the revenue is high, the profit is high, the margin is high, so your commission is high as well. If you purely do appointment setting, because of what I could bring to the table, I could negotiate a high base. If you're lucky, you get some form of a base. If you're not lucky, you have no base as a setter. Then your percentage is small, and then every day you have to set, cold call, book appointments. Okay, if you are good and the closer closes, then you get paid. Otherwise, how are you going to do this full time? You know what I'm saying? So if your goal is to be a great appointment setter, go focus and do it. But that wasn't my goal. My goal is to become a closer. I brand myself as a closer, operate as a closer, work as a closer, and sell myself as a closer. So in this strategy of mine, I went to learn setting to complement my skills. So eventually it got to a point where I can close and I can book calls for myself to close when there are no calls to take, or if I want more calls for myself to take. This concept is what I call a complete closer. You are no longer dependent on people having to feed you leads. Okay, if people give you leads, that's great. And then if you want more, or if you want to increase the quality and quantity of the calls going into your calendar, you know how to do it. And when your own personal pipeline as a closer is full, you know what's the best part? You can start dictating your own hours. So eventually it got to a point where I would tell my influencers where, look, you have already seen me perform. You already know what I can do. I'm in Singapore. Have some love for me. I need to sleep. Is it okay if I work this time to this time? I'll take calls, and then I'll sleep, and then this time to this time I'll take calls, and then this time to this time it's my personal time, family time. When you get to a point where you're essentially hitting and surpassing the KPIs that they set for you or you set with them, they really don't care what you do outside of it. You know what I'm saying? As long as you deliver. Whatever you want to negotiate, it's fine, because you win, they win, everybody wins. Okay, but I've seen some closers, they don't want to become appointment setters. The only reason they said yes to a low-paying appointment setting role with a very low percentage, with no base. Why you say yes to these kind of opportunities? If there's something in the team you want to learn, you go in, you You know, you do all this shit and then you build experience, you put it into your brand for 3 to 6 months. I can understand because I've done something similar. But if the only reason you're saying yes is because, number one, the root issue is you are not confident in your ability as a closer. So you're settling for something that looks like an opportunity, but it's actually VA level work. Then why don't you just go work as a VA? Because a lot of these companies are simply taking advantage of our fear, of our lack of confidence to excel as a closer, and then they say, oh yeah, come start as a closer. They pay you nothing, you do everything. Why you say yes to this kind of opportunity? Why don't you train and study and focus, make yourself good as a closer, get some wins, and then you say, I'm primarily a closer, but when there are no calls to take, I know how to get calls booked, I know how to close on chat, I know how to engage leads, I know how to prospect. So you understand my strategy here. I'm presenting myself as a closer first. If you want an appointment setter, go hire an appointment setter. If you want a VA, go hire a VA. But if you're talking to me, I'm someone who takes calls. Do I know how to do other stuff outside of calls? Yes. Then you can show your wins, then you can show your work, okay, as an appointment setter. But primarily, what I teach my students is to sell themselves as a complete closer. Both paths require a lot of effort. But which strategy makes sense to you? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so this is one of the main things that I want to teach people, because like I said, if you want to excel as an appointment setter, go all the way. I know appointment setters that are highly successful that make even more than most closers. If that is your career path, okay, you want to excel at it, go all in on it. Okay, but if you're like me, you want to focus as a closer first. You want to brand and sell and work as a closer. Tackle the root issue, okay, which is to beat the closing learning curve. You can study, you can train, face the learning curve head on. Why? Because if you don't face it, when you're going to face it? If you don't study closing, when you're going to study closing? I know so many closers, they go start as a setter, and then 6 months pass, they're still inside. 1 year pass, they're still inside. I never see them again. You know, appointment setting became another job. It became another comfort zone. And then they never became the closer that they signed up to be. You know what I'm saying? So face the learning curve head on. It's not that scary. And this is one of the main things that I'm going to teach in my upcoming challenge. I think the time I'm uploading this video is 21st December. Okay, this challenge is a paid live challenge I'm hosting. It's going to be on 29th December of 2022. And a lot of you are probably going to be watching the recording of this, which is probably by the time the challenge may be just starting, or it may already be over. Okay, but essentially this challenge is designed to help you focus, specialize, brand, and excel as a closer and hit your first 3K cash collected month. And you know what? Whether you want to sell your own office, you want to sell someone else's office, it doesn't matter, because if you can sell, you can sell. If you can close, you can close. And here's the thing, if you can close, you know the psychology to more or less close on chat. But if you can only close on chat, it doesn't mean that you can think fast enough and close on a live call. You know what I'm saying? So my intention for creating this live paid challenge event, okay, it's $100. I'll put the link in the description. Okay, if the event have already passed and you want to register, it's evergreen. Okay, you can just sign up and start training immediately. Okay, my intention for creating this challenge is for closers who want to excel as closers. Okay, to face the learning curve head on and understand what it means, to build the confidence within, to say that even though I don't know the entire learning curve, you know, when you first start, it can be very overwhelming. Okay, if the root of it really is a confidence issue, I want to show people how to face it head on. And you can say that it's overwhelming, you can say that it's difficult, you can say that it's challenging, but the one thing that you can't say after this challenge is, I don't understand. Because once I show you the parts that go into how, for example, myself, how I closed my first 3K sale, how I collected my first 3K cash, how I hit those initial milestones, and you'll see that how green I was at the time, how little experience I had at the time. And then once you can break down the steps and you can understand the different parts, and then it just clicks inside, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. You're only afraid because the whole thing is dark. There's no one to guide you, and when you try to get help, people give you general theory, people tell you stuff that's very, very hard for you to go implement on your own. And so it creates this illusion of like, oh, I'm in the maze, I'm in the darkness, and that's not true. If you can just shadow a closer who have done this full time, and I won't be teaching theory, I won't be trying to motivate you and things like that. I'm just going to show you what I've done and how you can do the same. You just model what I've done and you implement. Any questions, okay, you just show up and ask. Okay, what if it's already been done? And it's not just by me, I've coached stay-home moms, okay, with poor English. I've coached people in third world countries, South Africa, with sometimes no electricity. I've coached people from Malaysia in full-time jobs, in Hong Kong, Australia. A lot of them have full-time jobs. And once they hit that first 3K milestone, something clicks in them and they're like, okay, so you're telling me if I can find a lead, I can bring them on a call and I can sell them something that solves a major problem for them, high ticket. On one sale, my commission's what, 300, 500, 1,000? And then I get one sale a week for 1 month. On a bad month, it's 1K, 2K. On a good month, 3, 5, 10K. You average out the whole year, okay? Probably it's 1, 2, if not 3 times more than the average grad's income. And bear in mind, you're doing all this remotely. So my question to you is it worth it to beat the learning curve? If you don't want to try out the challenge, okay, I have a bunch of free stuff, free courses I'll put it in the description that are just as good so that you can understand how my training and coaching style is. Okay, but my suggestion is to face the learning curve head on. See what it takes to hit that first 3K, and once you're there, the rest of it is just more refinement, more practice, okay, more studying, and then you'll know what to do from there. So that first milestone is the most important one, and that's why I'm creating this challenge. So December 29, $100, lifetime access to what I'll be putting in the members area, okay, walkthroughs, tools, resources, scripts, training, like whatever you need, whatever that I've used, my students have used to hit that first milestone, it will all be in this event, okay. The replay, the recording, okay, I'm gonna convert all this to put inside the members area, okay, just as good. Okay, so anytime you see this and you have a question, okay, reach out. You want to be part of this, whether the live session or when I turn it evergreen and you want the recording, okay, reach out on social media, send me a message, say, hey Sean, I've seen your video on the 3K challenge and I want to know more about it. I want to know more how I can transition from a 9 to 5 and build this as a career. Okay, reach out, send me a message and say hi. So any comments, questions or feedback, just leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video. Have a great day.